What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Bro Schmo, just in case you did not know. So we're back for more rankings. We're going over the defensive interior prospects in this year's 2020 NFL draft. But before that, go ahead and become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. I will be having a watch party for the NFL draft, so hopefully you can join me for that and we could talk football and just, shoot the breeze, I guess. But yeah, man, draft's gonna be interesting this year. But yeah, man, I got a lot of content on the channel doing all these rankings, as well as I'm doing team individual mock drafts. I'm working on a 7-round mock draft. It'll span over a few videos. And hopefully by the time of this, I might have the free agency video out. We'll see. But enjoy. Let's go ahead. Let's get started. Let's talk. I got 15 giving you my top 15, but I have about 24 draftable defensive interior prospects, and typically a little over 20 are drafted. So James Strowbridge, he's coming in here at 15 for me. I got him as a 5th rounder. He looks the part of a 3-4 end, and I think he could be used much like Quentin Jefferson. That's kind of my comp for him, the way he was used in Seattle. He's just an average pass rusher, and you can really move him all around the alignment. But I mean, guys with his skill set aren't drafted highly, and I mean, you could see that they're also not valued that much in today's NFL. I mean, if you saw Quentin Jefferson go to the Bills, but they gave Vernon Butler a bigger contract than him. I don't know. I don't like it. I thought he was going to get 10 mil a year. He didn't get 10 mil a year. But you're probably going to see this guy off the board in the 5th round, very similar to Quentin Jefferson. That's kind of how I'm projecting him. McTelvin Agam? I think that's how you say it. But the guy, he's one of my favorite prospects in this interior class. He turned many heads at the Shrine game, and his athleticism really jumps out at you. He's still a bit raw from a technique perspective, mainly how he positions and uses his hands. But there's a lot to work with, and he can play any alignment on the inside from 3 tech to 0 tech. Again, one of my favorite guys in this draft. Speaking of one of my favorite guys, Bravion Roy from Baylor. I think Roy might be one of the most underrated prospects in this draft. I think there's a case that he should be the top nose tackle in this class, but that might be up for discussion with who I have at 12. But he has incredible strength. He's very aggressive at the point of attack, and his ability to eat up space and his movement from one block to the next, it really helped inflate James Lockhart and James Lynch, who's another guy I have on this list, help inflate their sack totals. He's going to be a very good run defender, but he doesn't have ideal length, and he's not great at using leverage yet, so some technique stuff. Well, outside of the length, I don't know what you can do about that. Maybe, I don't know, there might be a surgery out there. Luki Fotu, though, here's the other guy. This guy, he's a big boy, 6'5", 330, and like I said, he could be one of the best nose tackles in this draft. Up there with Bravion Roy. I'm kind of like indifferent. If you prefer one over the other, that's fine. But the guy he's disruptive. You just want to let him go, let him loose, and move blockers. He's really good at pushing the pocket. And then I got Laurel Murchison, another guy, man. I honestly, if you go to the Senior Bowl, I kind of fall in love with you. I don't know why I fall in love with Senior Bowl guys, but he was never a great pass rusher at NC State. However, he was used on the edge quite a bit there. Went to the Senior Bowl, and he moved to the inside, and he mauled guards in one-on-ones. I love his length. I love how he uses his hands. Regardless, if he can or can't become a good pass rusher, like I said, he wasn't the best pass rusher throughout his career, but he was kind of being misused. He will be a stout run defender, though. Probably a 3 tech only. And then on to 10 through 6. Let's talk about Raekwon Davis. Undeniably, the physical tools are just wow. But everyone knows the big knock on him is his lack of improvement as a pass rusher. It kind of seems he's plateaued, and he's potentially capped out. He'll be a very good run defender as maybe a 3-4 end or as a 3 tech. Great power, good length, but again, leaves a little bit to be desired. Devon Hamilton. Hamilton really helped his stock at the Senior Bowl. Like I said, I love Senior Bowl guys. Now, given he wasn't a big part of the Buckeyes' rotation, he never eclipsed 400 snaps in a season, so he has a limited sample size, which kind of begs the question, why? Why wasn't he used more at Ohio State? Still, like what I saw from him at the Senior Bowl, he was constantly winning. He could be the good part of any rotation because he has the versatility to play anywhere between the tackles. So, 4th round sounds about right. James Lynch. I was just talking about you, James Lynch. I like James Lynch. I like him as a 4 or a 5 tech. So basically maybe a 3-4 end. He doesn't have great athleticism. He doesn't have great strength. He doesn't have good length. He doesn't have many pass rush moves, but plays with a great motor. I love guys that play with that high energy, high motor. Somehow he just produced. Again, Bravion Roy deserves a little credit there. But the guy's just a solid football player, and I would probably comp him to Adrian Claiborne. Both guys are never going to be studs, but they're going to be solid for your defensive line. And then I got Neville Gallimore. Man, he didn't blow up the combine like I thought he would, but many of the interior prospects didn't really have great combines. He's a freak athlete for being 6'3", 304. He dropped like 20 pounds before the season, which kind of increases athleticism, but still raw from a pass rush perspective. But teams will love his ability to play the zero tech as well as over the right guard. And then we got Justin Matabuke out of Texas A&M. Matabuke, he's an above average athlete who's been really hot and cold as a pass rusher. His motor and his effort might be the biggest concerns for any team that's trying to pick him up, but he's very, very good as a run defender. He penetrates gaps. However, I don't think he'll be able to offer the versatility that some analysts think he might. I mean, during one of the press conferences at the Combine, he made it very clear that he wants to be a pure 3 tech, which, I mean, you can't hate a man that knows what he wants. Saying so. Ideal 3 tech. Onto the top 5. Ross Blacklock out of TCU. He has all the physical tools that make scouts just drool, but playing at TCU, playing on that TCU defensive line will mean he'll probably have a huge learning curve, because when it comes to technique and pass rush moves, they just don't teach those guys that at TCU. We saw it from LJ Collier and Ben Banagoo. They just don't do it. They aren't taught how to rush the passer. You can't deny his athleticism, and I love his range. And you gotta love why I have him high, and probably a lot of people do, about the 2nd round area, is because even despite that, he won a lot with his athleticism. Even despite despite the inexperience or the rawness, not being taught how to pass rush, he won despite that at the collegiate level. You want to see that, and any team could really throw this guy immediately at the 3 tech, because I mean, there's nothing like learning on the job, you know. And then Marlon Davison, I love Marlon Davison. The dude, he came into the Senior Bowl, put on weight, looked like a monster through like 1 or 2 practices, and was like, all right, my job here is done. I love it. I've been glowing about Davidson since last April, and I'm happy to finally see him starting to get the attention he deserves with the move to the interior. I don't know how he'll hold up as a run defender or how he'll hold up in run defense, since he was never in that situation at Auburn playing on the edge. He was never going to be a guy you want to rely on in space. However, he has a great set of pass rush moves from his experience being on the outside that should translate well to being on the inside. And then Jordan Elliott, underrated. I don't know why people aren't talking about Elliott. I mean, he's my biggest sleeper in this draft. While he may not have the freakish strength or athleticism of Derek Brown or Javon Kinlaw, Elliott does check a lot of the boxes. And he has scheme versatility. You could play him a variety of places along the alignment. Plays with good leverage, probably the best in this draft. Fought through many double teams, and this was against SEC offensive lines. It's as close to NFL offensive line you're going to get college football. Derek Brown at number 2. At me if you think he should be number 1. I mean, okay, the dude is a freak in terms of strength, and he's a stout run defender. I'm just saying. My biggest gripe with Brown was his inconsistencies as a pass rusher. Over the second half of the season, he was utterly dominant in that regard. But where was that in 2018? Where was that in the first half of this season? I mean, given he has the ability to overpower blockers, and still it's a bit alarming that he just wasn't able to do that consistently, especially on passing downs. He can play anywhere on the interior. I just doubt he'll move the needle much for any defense if you're going to pick him in the top 10. I just really disagree with him being picked in the top 10. I don't mind once you get to that, maybe that 14 to 20 range, picking him up, but I just think you're reaching for a guy that's not really going to move, like I said, move the needle much for your defense. Then Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina. This guy, he will drive a lot of people crazy. At least me putting him over Brown will probably drive a lot of people crazy. But in my opinion, he has a way higher ceiling than Brown. I can see Kinlaw being Fletcher Cox or Chris Jones as far as that ceiling in comparison to Brown. I mean, I've even seen people compare him to like John Henderson, who used to play with the Jags. That's a pretty good comp too. I don't think Brown can get to that level, but I mean, he's still a bit sloppy. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's Aaron Donald up in here. He's still a bit sloppy with his hand technique and placement, even with how he moves his feet. But the combination of size, length, strength, explosiveness is downright scary. He just, opposed to Brown, this guy can be a needle mover. This guy can be, I don't want to say Aaron Donald, but Fletcher Cox, pretty solid comp. Kind of, sort of. But that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. Let me know who you think should have been included or who you think should have been discluded. But till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.